we were
part
gonna
three.
do?
No,
Only
No, we're
part
on part
3.
four.
We're on part 4
Yeah.
because our beloved sister just had to get the end of the story. She couldn't wait until next week. So we are going to let Karama finish up his story on story as it relates to mental wellness. And then also, if you guys want to share your cards, if y'all want to do that, that's fine. If we don't have the time, that's fine too. But
I don't even know.
Whatever you want, Karama. If we hear you, that's the most important part, like you said the last time.
Yeah, just disregard the
however
insanity you see happening here. The force is being used.
Oh,
that's when you're too techie.
Oh yeah. I'm too techie for my own good. I got Skynet and the Matrix all hooked up in here together, so I don't know. Let's see where we were. So I was after Katrina in the aftermath, and then got out, and then got in a relationship for the first time with somebody who had never been a witness, had never had any type of exposure to them, didn't know stuff about them. And that's when I started learning for the first time what regular people were like. Like, I knew what regular people were from the witness perspective. Questions like, I really didn't get it that if you are a Baptist or whatever your religion is, you go to church on weekends, and then the rest of the week you are yourself. You do whatever you want. That was a foreign concept to me. At no time in my life had I ever had an off day. At no time in my life had I ever not been a witness 24/7. And not knowing that that had an effect on me was insane, because everybody thought what was the matter with me was Katrina. And I was like, Katrina was a week. Like, I was a witness for 25 years. When I said that for the first time, people were like, well, dude, do you think being a witness messed you up? And of course, I'm programmed. So I'm like, no, it's the best organization. I'm going into the spiel and all this other stuff. And it was when I was finally able to catch myself saying these things that I was able to even start the process. Because like I say, some things you don't even know that you don't know. So I'm going up. It was like the culture shock of being a New Orleanian living outside of New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that alone was enough to traumatize me. And it's like, wait a minute, what you mean y'all ain't got no gumbo? Like, hold on, what you mean y'all don't see? Like, just straight up culture shock, going through Katrina and the realities of, okay, yeah, I'm mad with my brother for hanging up on me. I'm mad with my family for leaving me there. But some real traumatic stuff actually happened. Like, I wasn't supposed to be crossing dead bodies. I wasn't supposed to be going scavenging for food and seeing people dying and all this other stuff. That, to me, when people ask me what shook me about Katrina, I would never say that. I was talking about my brother hanging up on me, little stuff like that. So when I said little stuff, but even when I started talking to the therapist like, that ain't little. Like, wait, like,
right? No,
all of these
your
things. So a lot of,
your
absolutely.
lifeline. Yeah.
So a lot of the things, when I first started talking to the therapist, it was a straight up conversation of, okay, I don't know how this is going to sound, but I promise you I'm going to be honest. And that was it. And once I just started cutting loose, okay, y'all see how this is flying by? We talking and talking. Next thing you know, it's 2 minutes left. I felt like I was in there 3 minutes. I felt like I hadn't even started talking good yet. And she was like, okay, that's our hour, but definitely you want to come back next week. And I was like, wait a minute. I could have done this at home. She was like, but your girlfriend wouldn't have had the tools I'm going to give you to take with you. Okay, so it was my first session where I found out, yeah, bro, you definitely have PTSD. And it was something that took PTSD from the abstract. Because when I was a kid, they didn't call it PTSD, it was shell shock. So it was like, okay, how you get shell shock and you ain't never been in war? That's what I'm asking. And she's like, no, whoever told you that didn't understand it. So now we're here to tell you what it actually is. So she gave me some books, showed me where to get these books, showed me these webinars and seminars that people just start listening to. And those, I realized, were my first steps outside of the hall. Because the only time I had really read books that weren't witness related was when I was in school. And that was, basics, like you learn in science and math and English and all of this. Outside of that, everything I read was from the hall. So she introduced me to philosophy, you know, as these questions that you don't think on a grand scale make a big deal, or that they are a big deal until you really start thinking about it. It's like, okay, wait a minute. Now I'm in a place where I have to start accepting that death is real. Um, and I have to do that as an adult by myself. Because a couple things. Number one, I was hood famous in New Orleans. Like everybody, I was the resident poet. Everybody knew I had a band. I was jamming. Everybody, like in certain sections, I was that dude. Now living I was in Nashville. This was the first time I had ever lived alone. This was the first time I'd ever lived in a place where I didn't know everybody and everybody didn't know me. And it was also when I really got to experience what being in the South actually was. Being in New Orleans ain't the South. That's you in New Orleans. You get outside New Orleans, you in Louisiana, and that's a whole nother animal. So it was these constant updates to my life that I had to keep making. I didn't have time to sit there and try to figure out how to look at this person or how to address him from the witness viewpoint. There were things that I thought I knew about. Like we used to tell people we were Bible scholars. I ain't a Bible scholar. I know a couple scriptures. And those scriptures came from a book that I ain't even sure is authentic. So it was like I had to deal with all of the stuff from Katrina, excuse me, all the stuff from Katrina in order to give myself room to process all the stuff that happened as a witness. Me explaining to the therapist, here's what was so funny to me about the therapist. My favorite sport was making her say, wait, what? Because it got crazier and crazy. She was like, wait, your mother told you your daddy was coming back soon? Yeah. Did you know he was dead? It was the same conversation. Like it wasn't 3 weeks later. She's like, look, Karama, your daddy got murdered. Okay, I know you expected to go to the dentist today, but you're not because your dad's dead. And he'll be back real soon because Jesus is going to bring him back. And okay. So I would ask people like, okay, can you imagine if your mama told you that? And everybody says no. But of course, when they really think about it, I'm like, okay, yeah, your mama telling you that is one thing. But then imagine the rest of the day. That happened early in the morning. Imagine what the rest of the day that conversation is like. Mom, when you say dead, what are you talking? What do you mean? Because I ain't never heard dead and coming right back in the same sentence. And me all these years later, finally allowing the questions that I had never got to ask to come out was crazy because the woman's like, you've been stuck at 5 this whole time. And you've been getting taller. You've been doing other stuff and carrying out other tasks and living life. But there's a gigantic part of you that never got off that couch. And there were times when you needed your mama to protect you. And this is the same person that you told you got molested and she sent you back? Yeah. This is the same person told you she wasn't leaving for Katrina? Yeah.
Right. So I have a question. Are you seeing now that the depths of your mother's mental illness,
that's a nice way of putting it.
Not just her being in a cult, but it's clear that she has some type of mental illness or something is very special about her to be influenced by so many different things at so many different times in her life. And what is your relationship like now with your mother?
Both my parents died in 81. One of them just kept breathing.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry, you wanted me to bullshit you? We cool.
Wow.
No, we ain't cool. Listen to everything that I just said in the last 30 seconds. And the version of me. Yeah.
Were you able to forgive her, or you just wrote her off, period? She just out of your mind.
I don't believe in forgiveness. I believe in acceptance.
Okay.
People will tell you, well, you gotta forgive for you. No, I'm cool. What I need to understand, what I need to do is accept the fact that she ain't gonna be talking to me, that I don't have a mama. And the moment I accepted that, my life started to blossom. because
Because
then,
that was her choice. That's her choice.
yes.
That wasn't on
The
Karama.
entire time, I thought it was me. Yep. I thought it was
So
on
she
me.
made the choice for him not to have a mother.
Exactly.
See,
and
that's why I'm not
81,
upset about it at all.
and how old were you in 81? Because you chose 81 as the year.
I was 6 in it. Oh, I was 5 in the beginning of the when I was 5. When my dad died, I was 5.
You were 5 in 81.
Yeah, my birthday's in December, so I was almost 6.
Me personally, aside from her association with the Kingdom Hall, I just believe she has a lot of deep, serious mental issues. I mean, I
do too. Look, at no point I'm grown, and I understand the difference between me carrying the anger from a 5-year-old's perspective. Because from a 5-year-old's perspective, it's literally, if she were to tell me now, I'm sure God will bring him back soon. Me as an adult can process that. That's you saying whatever you need to say to yourself to get you through this trauma. I'm not going to interfere with that. But I'm also not going to pretend that my entire life was not ruined by this woman because she couldn't accept reality. If somebody would have just said, hey man, your daddy dead, that's fucked up, but you gonna be all right because we got you. Oh, okay, I can deal with that. I was a smart enough kid. If you wanted to be scientific and just say your father's brain stem has no longer functioned, his synapses are no longer firing, and the electrons are malfunction, you could have told me whatever the hell you wanted, except Jesus is gonna bring him back real soon, and you got to do everything the witnesses say.
But you can't rationalize mental illness. There's nothing rational about mental illness.
No, not at all.
Now your brother,
and you don't know the depths of that either, because you don't know what her mom told her and what she was, you know what I mean? Even though that you were the God sent child, led her to that cult, her mom still could have had some type of issues going on for her to even accept that.
And again, y'all, for real, I have, and this is what mental wellness has let me or allowed me to get into a place where I can honestly, this ain't me mad. This ain't me from 5 or 6 years ago flipping, fuck her. No, I really was wilding like that. And I'm telling you, nah, this is me at peace telling you, I'm good.
Yeah.
She can stay where she is. The rest of my family is always like, well, but that's your mama. And I'm like, okay, I need somebody to hit her with, but that's your son.
Right.
Because I ain't trying to hear that from the other side.
That is the key to mental wellness, because no matter how much chaos is going on in the world, in your family, or the family was dropped into, or whatever the case may be, when you find that place of peace, we done already all had to write somebody off because they were obstructing our way to peace.
Absolutely.
And it's the same thing. I'm sure it's hard as hell because that's the woman that brought you through here. But the strength that you had to process that and be okay with that, to me, that I admire that. Yeah. Because most people would have checked out of here on just 3% of the story that we heard today.
Oh, yeah.
So for us to have you in this, and all of these magical things to have happened in your life since then.
Well, I tell you what,
I'm speechless.
I agree, Nalo, and I gotta tell you, I admire the 5-year-old for accepting such a huge burden on him at 5 years old, and then I admire the age you were a teenager. You said when you came out of that reality, and you said, you know what, you brought it to your wife, and you were like, okay, this magazine ain't real. You know, I admire that too, because you did not ignore that inner compass, which is spirit. And you held on to that, and then you did your research and you found your truth. I admire that. I mean, I give you big ups for that, because that's what we all need to do. We need to find our own truth.
We all need to find our own truth. And Katrina, even though Katrina was a devastation, Katrina actually freed a lot of people mentally, physically, emotionally, from themselves, their situations, and just, you know, catapulted people into a whole nother dimension. So New Orleans needed that explosion to happen to really, you know, to me, I feel like that, even though it was devastating, it was still it was a lifesaver, because had Katrina really not come, where would you be right now? Like, where would you be right now? What kind of situation would you be in right now? And that goes, so and Nalo says it's a very spiritual place. Now, New Orleans is a very spiritual place. It has a lot of deep religious backgrounds and spiritual entities, and I believe it has just as much of a dark side as it has a light side, a huge dark side that some other places don't even have. I definitely believe that about New Orleans. It's just a portal for the dark side, and a lot of energies are stuck in that place down there. Even though it's it's still a beautiful place and it's still home, but if you're a spiritual person, you can feel it when you're there. If you've lived there, you've experienced those entities. Now, your brother only being 25 years old and having breast cancer, because less than 1% of men get breast cancer.
Yep.
And from what I know about breast cancer, because our stepfather had it, and it's caused by unforgiveness. So what do you think was that trigger? It wasn't that he was ill. It was that something in his mind, something devastated happened that grew so quickly in his body that caused him to even, and did he have to go to chemo? Was it that serious, or was it like, what was
it was serious. He was, first of all, 25 years old, Black, from New Orleans, a couple weeks after Katrina. So he was a world famous case. So he ended up I don't call it luck, but he got extraordinarily fortunate that he ended up in Dallas, and the owner of the Mavs, he reached out to him and talked to him. And I don't remember what he did, but I remember my brother was really hype on Mark Cuban. But what happened is all of the surgeons all over the world found out about that case and was like, oh, wait, I could get my name in the record books if I cure this dude.
Yeah, because it's very rare.
Yeah, they came out in droves, and my brother had the best surgeons in the world. Now you got to remember, while he was going through this, I was on my other shit, mad and going all over the country trying to figure all this out. So when I finally did talk to him and found all this out, it was more of a, I don't even know how to describe it to you. Like, I could feel the anger subsiding a little bit, but it was the contradiction of, remember I said how I don't want to be the bigger person no more? It was that back and forth of, okay, yeah, I'm not going to clown him, because who clowns somebody for getting cancer? But at the same time, the petty in me was like, you shouldn't hug up the phone. And that, come on, that ain't going to go nowhere. So it took me finding out what my reactions were versus my reflexes. Because there were some things that just went, you unconsciously telling somebody something or reacting to some stuff. And that's when I found out through therapy that my reflexes were the things that were programmed to me as a kid. My reactions involve actual thoughts and conscious decisions. So when I was able to start taking my reflexes and turn them into reactions, or either get rid of them because they weren't serving me, or focus on what was actually going to serve me in the future, I started the process of healing. Now, it took a long time because I didn't know all that was wrong with me. Like I said, I have been talking to my girlfriend about stuff for years. You keep telling this person the same story 10 years, thinking you're going to come up with a new part, or maybe you ain't hear this one part. Like, no, she heard me, but that's not her job and that's not her responsibility. So when I got, right before I got therapy, I need to really emphasize this part. The reason I was able to get therapy is because the person I met who told me I was tripping, he used to be a witness.
Oh, okay.
I would not have listened to anybody else. Not only did he used to be a witness, but he used to be in a position of authority as a witness. So when witnesses leave, they used to be an elder. So you still kind of listen to him when he says something. So with me, this guy became my mentor. I call him Sifu, which is like sensei. He is very, very patient, extremely patient with me. And it was my dealings with him that allowed me to see myself clearer. And I got to see that I'm not patient. Why? Because I met somebody who's patient for real. And I saw that he was patient with me when I didn't deserve it. Like, there were times I was being a straight up jerk talking to him, thinking I was right. And this dude was so patient that by the time I realized I was wrong, I had to accept that L, but I also had to realize how patient he was with me, knowing I wouldn't have been that patient with him if the shoe was on the other foot. And it's those types of, those slices of humble pie that kept me in the position so that when he was the one to say, Karama, you trust me, right? Yeah. Have I steered you wrong so far? No. Do you know that I went to therapy? No, I didn't know that. What do you think it's like? So I described to him what I thought it was like. He's like, dude, you were watching The Sopranos. That's not real. Like, that was a therapist thing on a TV show. That's not what it's really like. He'll sit there and explain it to you. So he got me to go. And when I went the first time, what he urged me to do was find someone who specialized in cult recovery. Yeah, because listen, y'all see how this is going. It's taking me all this time to say all this other stuff, and I'm talking fast. With a therapist, I would have had to explain every single thing. I couldn't just say field service and have you know that I'm talking about when the witnesses are knocking on doors. I can't just say field service and have you know that when the witnesses finish knocking on the doors, now you go back to the people who answered the doors earlier. Like, people don't know that field service lasts like 6 or 7 hours. All day walking around in the heat in New Orleans in August with a suit.
Yes, indeed. I'm sorry. I could not be me. Listen, one more thing. Do you think your brother's cancer? Because I'm getting the feeling that maybe him hanging up on his brother and then him seeing the media and everything that happened, do you think maybe there was a point where he didn't forgive himself? Because maybe deep down inside he knew he was wrong, but he was kind of maybe torn in between what was kind of going on, and then your family didn't know what he had done, and then I'm sure when they found out, they probably kind of blamed him, but not blamed him. Like, you know what I mean?
See what you're doing? That's what kept me stressed out for years, trying to figure him out. Maybe,
but you know what?
If only, you know.
A lot of people don't really realize from the gate anyway, if they're not connected or spiritual, they don't realize that things like cancer, diabetes, any type of dis-ease starts from the and then turns physical. So like
see, the witnesses don't listen to Dr. CB. That's the first part. So once I started finding out about alkaline and dis-ease, the first time I heard somebody say dis-ease, I was like, why you said it like that? And then they wrote the whole thing down. I was like, oh, so when I eat stuff, okay, so this chicken and milk stuff that I'm eating is clot congesting me up, and that's so what I'm gonna start doing? Getting into my physical wellness. So I'm eating healthy, but I'm still pissed off all the time.
Exactly.
I couldn't keep it doing this. So it's like, okay, all of this gotta match up. And for me to find myself, I needed it to be authentic. So I didn't just jump off and say, you know what, I'm gonna be Catholic tomorrow. Everybody in my city is Catholic. Nope. I couldn't just jump into Islam. I remember my uncle talking about it. So I ended up finding myself by answering certain questions. And those questions were like, if push came to shove and I had to decide between helping myself and helping somebody else, what would I do? Now, the reason I say it like that is because I didn't have to figure this out. I survived Katrina. I know what I did when it came to that point. I helped other people. But I was wrapping that up in my identity. And this is a really important point for me to speak on. My identity, I had wrapped up into service of others. I was a big brother. I was the oldest son. I was a lot of people's big cousin. I was looked up to as an example in this place. I was a person, I was out of my friends. When you say poetry to them, I'm the dude they think of. So I was a trendsetter for a lot of different things. And I kept thinking that was my job, that I had to keep doing that. And without that, well, who am I? Well, I'm a poet. When the last time you performed on a mic? 4 years. Well, damn, bro. When the last time you wrote something? I'm wrapping that up in my identity, regardless of the reality going on outside. And when I was able to see that, it turned into, well, first I started saying I was an ex-witness. And then it's like, why am I still tying that into my identity? So I had to choose who I am and who I want to be. and put myself on that path, knowing that there were going to be obstacles, but also knowing that most of these obstacles that were in my way were self-placed. I put those there. So any prepositional phrase I need to use, I'm gonna go over this obstacle, I'm gonna go around it, I'm gonna go through it, under it, whatever I need to do, I know I'm going on the other side of that. And if I can't stop me, neither can you. That was the attitude I really had to take with that. Yes.
I have a question. So because of the history of that, did you find it difficult to seek other spirituality?
At first I did.
Okay.
At first I did because I only knew the witness perspective, and I didn't even realize that. I always thought, well, I wasn't always a witness. Well, damn, bro, I was 5 and I wasn't a witness. That don't count. I wasn't going nowhere, making decisions on my own. So I knew that as witnesses, we considered ourselves to be Christians. It's just a sect of Christianity. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna be a witness no more. Let me jump into the Bible. I'm gonna be the best Christian I could be. I didn't make it out of Genesis. I was like, this is some bullshit, man. No, this no. I had been reading it the whole time in my life. I was like, wait a minute. So the dude made plants on day 4. No, sorry, he made the sun on day 4. How had 4 days passed with no sun? These are the questions that I'm sitting there thinking of. And I'm like, all right. So I'm reading all the stuff, and these are stories that you think you know. I was a minister preaching this to other people. I thought I knew all these stories. And then I read the story about when God tried to kill Moses. And I'm like, wait, God tried to kill Moses. What you mean tried? This is stuff I got to think of, because when I was a witness, I couldn't ask these questions. So now I'm at the point where I'm meeting this other people, and I'm like, okay, look, I got questions. And they was like, we all got questions. What you got? So I'm hitting them with the stuff, and I'm talking about Samson, and I just got into the story of Samson. I'm like, none of this makes sense. But instead of me saying, okay, well, I'm just not going to deal with any religion no more, I kept seeking. I was like, okay, I'm just going to have a personal relationship with Jesus. That's what I'm going to do next. And every time, it would be some roadblock I would run into internally of like, it's not it, bro. It's not it. So I sent it out to the universe. And I was like, I'm looking for truth. And I need truth to either find me and get my attention while I'm on the way on my path and searching and seeking for this. And my path led me to humanism. Humanism feels right to me, where it's just like, okay, look, I don't like most of y'all, but as long as we human, I'm gonna look out for. I ain't gonna hurt you. I got my family, I got my people. You human, we cool. I look out for animals. I'm like a doctor. I ain't trying to do no harm, but I ain't taking no shit either. So it's really.
We live off the land and Mother Nature.
I think that's beautiful. Because a lot of people, you know, they would have just thrown everything out. Like, I'm not listening to nothing else. And, you know, just continuing on that path of just kind of wandering. So I think that's beautiful that even you tried and you're like, okay, this doesn't sit well with me. This doesn't sit well with me. But you still something in you said, and then you found something that worked for you. And so that's huge in mental wellness, because you're paying attention to what's happening in your head and your heart.
Yep. And being it, okay, just what you said, I want to expound on that because that is profound. I had, okay, and if any witnesses are watching this, I had to separate who I really am from who I am or who I was at the Kingdom Hall. Because it's this catch-22. It's like, okay, your parents don't know you. Your parents know the child they raised. They don't know the adult you are. They taking your word for it. They don't know all the shit you do. If they did, they'd look at you kind of strange, just like you'd be looking at them kind of strange. Okay. So with me, it was more of I had this image, this front that you put on that's kind of authentic, but not. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm a regular witness. But when I'm at the Kingdom Hall, I'm super witness. When I'm at the house, I'm witness light. Like we might read a scripture, but you could catch these hands real fast. Like it can go all over the place. So that's what it was. It's like who I am to you depends on where you know me from.
Right.
And
Right.
okay, it's like I'm on the line right now with two twins who know me from two different places, even though we all went to the same school. Where it's like, but y'all know that I'm being myself. I'm not, when I'm looking at you, I'm not, hello, blah, 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 and then acting crazy when I'm talking to your sister. I needed to come to a place where I'm comfortable in my own authenticity, so that if somebody sees me now who knew me 20 years ago, and they can start talking about the person from 20 years ago, well, yeah, I went to his funeral back in the day. He gone. This is a whole new me. And this me will do my best in all aspects of my life. But I repeat, I ain't doing no harm, but I ain't taking no shit. I don't think people really get how serious I am when I say that.
I think
Because
that's
it's like,
key though to the mental wellness when you say finding your place of authenticity. And a lot of people don't really want to do that work that it takes to get there, because it definitely takes a lot of unpacking of a lot of bull crap.
Yes.
It's very uncomfortable to get to that place where you can sit with yourself and be like, okay, I kind of like it here. I don't really care if nobody here or not. I'm cool with it.
Yes, I'm cool with me.
To me, that's like the pinnacle of mental wellness, being okay with yourself, all of your shit, all of your shine. I mean,
I agree.
And to know how to stay balanced in that place.
Yes, that's what I was gonna get to. I think with me, it was the lack of balance, because it went back and forth. What is that?
That's a card that says
spirituality and practicality.
See?
That's the card I pulled 4 videos ago. Before we got started, we always pull a card.
Way back in the day, 4 whole videos ago.
Well, he said that.
Spirit gave this card for the collective, and your story is in perfect alignment with balance, spirituality, and practicality. You have to have balance. Can't go too far to one end and can't go too far to other. You got to be able to have balance so you can stand up without falling down and falling on your ass and slip up in a coat some damn well.
Well, that's what Karama just said. You can get a scripture, but you can also get these hands.
That's right, balance.
Yep. And I think by the time I ended up becoming comfortable with that, I didn't even notice it. Yeah. Because I think I kept expecting like we're gonna play Do What You Want or something. Like there's gonna be a parade when I get to the end and I'm healed. No, man, it ain't no parade. It's shit just ain't
just
bothering
like a
you
light,
no more.
easy something that comes over you, and you're like, okay. Yep. And I mean, you're still gonna be continuously evolving, but it's almost like a settling in. You know, and you just
like a real comfortable pair of shoes you can put back on.
Oh, my favorite pair of shoes at that.
That's me. Yes.
Or a king size bed.
Yeah.
Or a king cake. Y'all, the first time I had king cake, I lost my mind.
So now I understand your obsession. I see you on Facebook talking about king cake. Now I can make the correlation.
Exactly.
I have to send you a king cake if outside ever open up again.
Thank you. Look, so many people were really, they just think I'm straight up weird. Or just think I'm crazy. And
all the earth angels get that title.
Yeah, you know what? I was gonna say, Karama, I was gonna say, welcome to spirituality. Welcome to our world.
You ain't good company.
Good. Because
they might not come out and say that, oh, I think you're weird. But you know, it's a look, it's a vibe.
Yeah, the weird ones are here. You hit us free to slaves.
I tell people all the time, look, call me whatever you want. You ain't gonna call me weak. Because I didn't know I was strong till I got through a whole bunch of stuff. And was
we are the warriors for the universe. We are the warriors for the universe and the warriors for Mother Nature. And we are here to free people from these cults and everything else that's going on out here.
Exactly.
So we have
when you said that.
accomplished our piece because it's real. That's what it is. What it is. It's real.
And guess what? That's why you have to go through certain things so that you can.
The worst thing.
Exactly. Yep. That's why we go through a lot, because we have a lot to do. So
it's also taught me empathy, because I didn't have empathy before.
Exactly.
I remember you was either a witness or you weren't. And you either gonna die or you not. So it took a lot for me to just be like, it's okay for me to be okay with gay people.
Yeah.
It's okay for me to treat these people as people. And it's also okay for me to realize that I've been really fucked up for a really long time.
Hello.
And
we all have.
knowing that when like that's a big deal. And people, a lot of times people will say like, oh, all you gotta do is just self-actualization, send it out to the universe, you'll be fine. And it's like, nah, man, you gotta look at yourself in the mirror. You gotta really sit with your stink.
Okay.
And really appreciate like,
Oh,
yo,
and it's
this
stank.
is,
It's
you gotta
stank.
sit with your stink. Just like, no, you know, you're in a hurry to get out the bathroom. No, I need to realize that's from me. I can't blame that on somebody else. That's my shit. That's my stink. I could deny it all I want, but if I get some other people to come in here, now I ain't gonna be wondering why their face all turned up and they looking crazy because my shit stink. And the faster I realize that, the faster I can adjust that and help other people. It ain't gonna change that much shit stink, but I know better than to bring you into my world while this funk is in here. I need to come meet you where you at.
Yeah, because we're not gonna do what was done to us. So they brought it to us. We realized that we break the generational curses, and we're doing something different. Yeah.
Yep.
Self-acceptance.
That is why my daughter, to me, is so amazing because, y'all, I have no idea what she's gonna do. And as a witness, every aspect and facet of your life is planned out. You know, the beginning of the year, they give a schedule. You're going to read 3 chapters of the Bible every day, and you're going to get through the whole Bible in a year. I know in January, I know what talk and speech I'm going to have in December. So for me to be able to bring my daughter to college and say, yo, the world is your oyster for real. Like, do what you want to do. So my daughter's gay. She came out to me. I was so flattered. And see, by this time, I had so many gay friends that by the time my daughter came out and I told it to them, they just fell out laughing. They're like, oh, duh, of course. Like, who better to be her dad than somebody with 30 gay friends? I'm like, hey, it's cool. So my family rejected her as well.
Oh, well.
The beauty of it, though.
Think that was, you think that.
Nah, they told her. They told
her.
No,
you think that's your family. Yeah, that
relatives.
Exactly. Right. Yeah,
when the relatives dismissed her, the beautiful part of this is we've already been through this rodeo. Yeah. You don't need them, baby. Come here. I got you. I've been out here. Your mama and your grandma and them, they all know about the hall. We gonna get you into college. We gonna get you a good girlfriend if that's what you want. Get your boyfriend if that's what you want. Get you a set. I don't care. Get your dog to go along with him. I got your back. You need to know that I love you, and my love for you means you will never be abandoned. Unconditional
Less than a minute, people. Less than a minute.
Y'all ready for video 5?
No. Like, share, subscribe. Karama, forget the book. There's a movie in you. Okay.
Yes, let's do a movie. I'm gonna have all y'all in it too. We're gonna start with this.
Much love.
Much love, baby. Thank y'all.
Same production.
Bye, sisters.
All right.
Take care, y'all. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We love you, Karama.
Love you too. Thank you so much. I'll talk to y'all.